Welcome to episode number 6. Today is still January 7th, 2017. As you can see here, yesterday, or in this last episode 5, I removed some of the seeds from the group 1 pod, grouping 1, and basically remapped them. So if you look at the original one on the left, I dug these up, took the seeds, put them back in the wet paper towel so that they can sprout in the wet paper towel. Since wasn't having any success, since they'd been in these pods here for over 2.5 weeks without doing anything. So what I did is the other thing I did was these 3. I think it was a couple episodes ago I had shown you that those had been basically, I don't know, they got too much heat from the heat lamp, so they ended up dying. So I removed those as well. So if you look at the new map on the right, I basically have removed these and these. So those are now open pods that I can replant new seeds in once they're sprouted. One thing to keep in mind when you are removing the seeds from these little pods over here is to make sure that if you have more than one seed in each of the pods, to make sure you get all the seeds out, because when you plant the new seeds in, you don't want a different type of seed being put in that pod slot, because then you won't know what exactly ended up being, what seedling ended up coming up. I'm going to circle up. I'm going to highlight the ones here on the right. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to highlight the ones that have grown in here. Okay, so I highlighted the ones that have sprouted, or the ones that had previously popped within this grouping here. Some of them had popped in previous episodes, and so I've highlighted the ones that have grown, have sprouted since I don't know, here in the past, almost the past week. Pod grouping number 2 hasn't done anything since yesterday. I mean, the seedlings have gotten a little bit bigger, but nothing new has popped since yesterday. Only the slots that have the highlights around them have popped since here in the past, since December 30th, when I started planting these ghosts, and then a day or a couple of days after that. So these were all, the last of these here were planted about 5 days ago, or sown 5 days ago, and this is what they now look like. Actually, I take that back. The one on the pod on the upper right hand corner of number 2 here has popped. Just didn't see it. So I'm going to go and mark that out. Here's number pod group 3, the newest pod grouping. The first of them were planted on January 3rd, and the last of them were planted just yesterday on the 5th. The only activity I see is one of the pods has popped. This one right here. You can barely see it. This is a Maruga scorpion original, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that out. This is the only one that's popped since yesterday. I haven't added any new seeds to anything today because no new seeds have sprouted from my paper towels. So the 3 slots are still open on the top there. Okay, I've got groupings 1, 2, and 3 from left to right as of January 7th. As you can see, some of these seedlings are getting kind of packed in here. You know, on seed grouping, on the grouping number 1 over here, there's 3, and because I like to use economy, at least plant 2 to 3 in each of the pods. So 3 are in here, and now they're kind of getting tall. They need to be transplanted into small cups. These are the, what is this, number 1? Yes, number 1, front 7-pot Douglaw. They were planted on December 21st. It's been 2.5 weeks. I'm going to take these and separate them and put them in cups. I pulled out the 7-pot Douglaw that I just described. There's 3 of the seedlings in here. Getting long. I'm going to put them in cups soon. These are old cups that I have. And separate the roots very carefully when you do this. Just very carefully, because they're so fragile. Their roots are small enough so that they shouldn't be too tangled together, but you just got to be very gentle as you do this. Alright, I separated the 3, getting ready to pot them. Alright, I got one of them planted. If you recall, they were kind of long and spindly, kind of stems coming off. So what I did is when I planted it, I put the root real deep into the cup, and then I put some of that stem underneath the soil so that it only has maybe about a 1/2 inch between the top of the soil and where the leaves are. So it sort of gives the soil, gives it some additional support as it continues to grow. Give it a good watering, and you know, even if it's just some real quick temporary thing, always label the pepper. This is 7-pot Douglaw, and I always like to put the date that it was actually sown into the soil the first time originally. The seed was sowed in. That was on December 21st as sort of a reference. Alright, so I did transplant those 3 seedlings into the cups, but now I need to make sure that I mark out that I dug them up out of this particular pod group. And now this pod is now open for more planting if it's needed in the future. I'm trying to use an efficient use of my space here. Alright, so I put the domes back on all 3 of these. Number 1 is on the left, number 2 is in the middle, and number 3 is on the right for the night. Good night.